Argument Strategies Part 2. Logical Fallacies. What is a logical fallacy? A logical fallacy is an error in logic or reasoning. More often than not, they occur by accident, but sometimes they may be used unethically as argument strategies to win over, trick, or manipulate the reader. It's important to be able to recognize logical fallacies so you can avoid them when making your arguments, and so you can identify them in other people's arguments. Here are the most common types of logical fallacies. We'll take a look at each in more detail. Hasty generalizations result when someone bases a conclusion on too little evidence. For example, imagine a student tries to call his or her advisor and never gets an answer. The frustrated student then complains, "She's never any help. She never even answers the phone." This is a hasty generalization. Perhaps the advisor never answered the phone because she was on the line with another student or had a student in her office. Non sequitur, from the Latin "it does not follow," draws unwarranted conclusions from seemingly ample evidence. For example, Jane says this about her college boyfriend John. "John's been out almost every night for the last 2 weeks. Who is she?" John's evening excursions, however numerous, point to no particular conclusion. John may be studying in the library, participating in campus organizations, or taking night classes. Of course, he could be out with a new date, but that conclusion requires additional evidence. Stereotyping is attaching one or more supposed characteristics to a group or one of its members. Stereotyping makes vague assumptions without any supporting evidence or proof. It is harmful not only to whomever is being stereotyped, but also to the trustworthiness of the author. Card stacking occurs when the writer presents only part of the available evidence on a topic, deliberately omitting essential information that would alter the picture considerably. For example, take the phrase, "College students have a very easy life. They attend classes for only 12 to 16 hours a week." This statement ignores the many hours that students must spend studying, doing homework and/or research, writing papers, and much more. The either-or fallacy asserts that only two choices exist, when in fact, several options are possible. For example, a salesperson who wants you to buy snow tires may claim, "Either buy these tires or plan on getting stuck a lot this winter." This fallacy is trying to lock you into two choices, but really, there are a large number of possibilities. Instead, you could buy an all-terrain vehicle, you could rely on public transportation, or even move to Florida. And who knows, maybe it won't snow at all this winter. Note that not all either-or statements are fallacies. Sometimes there are only two choices. Begging the question occurs when an individual asserts the truth of some unproven statements. For example, take the phrase, "Vitamin A is harmful to your health, and all bottles should carry a warning label. If enough of us write the Food and Drug Administration, we can get the labeling we need." But how do we know vitamin A is harmful? No evidence is offered. This fallacy takes advantage of ignorance and is used often by deceitful arguers to hit opponents below the belt. Think of election ads, for example. Circular arguments attempt to support an opinion by restating the opinion in different words. For example, take the phrase, "Jane is a good manager because she runs the company effectively." Circular arguments use repetition to replace evidence. The statement above essentially says, "Jane is a good manager because she is a good manager." That is, something is because it is. A better approach would be to back the statement up with evidence. Jane is a good manager because she has the highest sales record in years and all of her employees respect her. Arguing off point, also called ignoring the question or a red herring, is a technique that sidetracks an issue by introducing irrelevant information. For example, take the argument, "The Ford Thunderbolt is a much better value than the Honda Harmony. Far too many foreign cars are coming into the country. As a result, thousands of auto workers have lost their jobs and had to take lower paying jobs. Many Americans strongly oppose this state of affairs." The writer sets out to prove which car is a better value, but then shifts the topic to the plight of the downsized auto worker, a trend that has no bearing on the argument. The argument ad hominem, Latin for "to the man," designates an argument that attacks an individual rather than that individual's opinion. For example, take the argument, "John Smith doesn't deserve a promotion to personnel manager. His divorce was a disgrace, and he's always writing letters to the editor. The company should find someone more suitable." This argument claims that John isn't suitable, but offers no evidence to support that. It avoids the real issue, whether or not John is qualified for the promotion. Instead, it relies on attacks against his personal character. This is irrelevant unless it has some direct bearing on the position. Faulty cause and effect assumes that because one event follows another, the first caused the second. For example, most superstition falls into this category. If a black cat crosses your path, you'll have bad luck. Picking up a penny brings good luck. Or claims that cannot be substantiated. I always get sick after finals. While the last statement might be true, it seems to imply that finals caused sickness. But in truth, there are many factors other than finals that play a part. For example, missing sleep to study, not eating properly, added stress, weather changes, frequent contact with other students in study groups. Any or all of these elements could have contributed to getting sick, but the finals themselves were most likely not the cause. An appeal to the crowd arouses an emotional response by playing on the irrational fears and prejudices of the audience. For example, often loaded terms like communist, fascist, right-winger, and more are tossed about freely to sway the audience for or against something. Tapping the emotions of a crowd can sway large groups and win acceptance for positions that rational thinking would reject. This approach is similar to the bandwagon effect and seeks to overpower reason with emotion. Faulty analogy occurs when one assumes two things are similar in all important respects when in fact they are not. For example, take the analogy, doctors are allowed to look up difficult diagnoses in their medical textbooks, so students should be able to look up tough test questions in their texts. While these events might seem similar on first thought, they are actually very different. Students take exams as an evaluation of their skills. Doctors diagnose patients for the patient's well-being, not as an evaluation of their skills. The analogy is faulty because it equates students to doctors and exams to patients' health care, neither of which are similar. Thanks for watching the second video on argument strategies. Until next time.